cosa muy distinta es grado 3 y otra cosa muy distinta es grado 3. Si no fuera por todo esto,
Alrighty, good evening, good morning, good night to all of you. So today's match is going to be Chloe Wing against Sandron. These are pretty similar, but we will see how the match goes. Um, now, if you didn't already know that the ban and the pick order did switch to ABBA, and the HP did switch from 800 or 850 to 1 mil, which I'm pretty sure you guys all know by now. So we're gonna get into the rules, and let me just refresh you guys on what paths everybody picked. Chloe did pick the path of silence, and Sandron picked the path of echoes. Echoes? Yes, echoes. That's how you say that word. So that correlates to which one. So Sandron would be on PS1, and then Chloe would be on PS2. Which also means that the percentages for the multiplier for the map is going to be 1.30. It does look like Sandron did. My goodness. Looks like Sandron did win the role. As well as for each player, they do have a neutral that is picked right after their bans. And it looks like Chloe is also going to take the second pick. So first ban is going to go to Chloe, and then first pick is going to go to Sandron. Both players in general did seem to do about the same comfortability on the last pools that we did see. So it might be a really fun matchup. And first ban that's going to come out is going to be from Chloe, and it's going to be DT3. This one is not very surprising just because of how uncomfortable that map is. It's a lot of overlaps. It's low BPM, so low BPM. Is it? I think so. But the main issue with that map is just the overlaps, which does catch a lot of people off guard. And I have seen this either banned every time or picked. And then also the other ban is going to come from Sandron, which is going to be Hard Rock 2. Again, this one's not a surprise. These are both a little bit of the unconventional picks in the pool, so I can see why they both would want to get those out of the way. Sandron is going to get the first neutral, which we will see no mod 5. And again, neutrals just mean that it halves your score, so it's gonna deal half as much damage. And we're gonna see a Noma 2 from him. I can also see this. He's not so comfortable. Either players aren't so comfortable on their tapping. So I can see why they would want to neutralize those picks. First pick is going to come from Sandros, and he is going to pick the DT2. Right, stats for this one, it is going to be the second highest BPM in the pool, sitting at 255. Link a little under 2.5 minutes, TS4, and then AR 10.07. Right, and we're going into the map. This one is fairly going to be more of a combo game rather than an act difference, if I remember correctly. There's a little bit of tapping heavy. I can see where we want to get this out of the way just to see how his other opponent is going to feel on this one, which Sandron actually is going to find the first break going into this map, but it is traded by Chloe. Chloe does have a bit of the act advantage, sitting at 94, whilst Sandron is at 87. But we're already a quarter way in through the map. We will see who is able to take this over with already a 40k score difference. Another break coming from Sandron, so Chloe is just going to be able to take this in. He's going to be able to keep that score growing, especially when Sandron is unable to keep combo, but Chloe as well finds a break going into that slower section. Both of them struggling a little bit with keeping combo, but we are going into the second half of the map, and this accuracy coming from Sandron is actually definitely affecting him a lot more. An interesting pick coming from him just because of his struggle a lot with tapping, which was already expected. There is only a 30k difference, and we still do have plenty of time. He does have a bit of the combo advantage, not by much. Both of them sitting at about 500, 400. Oh, good morning, spirits. Both of them seem to be holding on going into this diff spike. It is going to be a test of accuracy, and Chloe does find a break going into those heavy bursts. But Sandron does as well. We have the last quarter of the map left, but there is only a 10k score difference right now. It's really going to see who is able to keep the rest of this combo, which they both seem to keep finding breaks, but at the same time. So it's just going to keep the score pretty stagnant. Both of them sitting at the same accuracy as well. There's only a little bit of the map left, but I think it does still ramp up fairly quickly at the ending. But that score difference has grown to 20k. I think this is going to be Sandron's pick. First point is going to go to Sandron. Both players doing fairly similar, both sitting at about 84 to 85 accuracy. We saw a little bit of that combo advantage coming from Sandron in the second half of the map, which was where it really was able to switch over to his side, and the increasing act drops coming from Chloe. Now, because the scores were so similar, the HP damage is not going to be by much, but he does take the first win. Alrighty, now it is going to be Chloe's pick. This is, again, Abba. I knew you warmed up for that. I knew you warmed up with that map. Next pick is going to be the Hard Rock one. Now, this one is really just a test of consistency. If you do know this map, which most people do, it is almost a straightforward, like, no mod 1, Hard Rock 1 that you would see. There is a little bit of trippy rhythm sections that do come up, but if you're fairly comfortable on it, it's not overly as damaging as you would think it would be. This map is sitting at a little under 4 minutes, BPM 100. CS... Hold on, the thing doesn't show it correct on there. La, 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 la. CS 5.2 and obviously OD and AR 10. And it looks like we're going into the map. They definitely have plenty of time for this map to be able to take it over side by side. Both players seem to be able to hold only a teeny bit of act drops coming from Sandron. There's not too much of any spikes that you are going to see in this map. It is really just going to be a test of consistency. Oh my god, Sandron missed and I missed his miss. That is going to start swinging it over to Chloe's side, but we are still fairly early into the map, so he definitely still has time to be able to take it over, especially if we see a miss coming from Chloe, which I think he definitely needs going into this second quarter of the map. Chloe does have a bit more of an act advantage, sitting at 98, while Sandron is at 96. Sandron is rebuilding that combo, trying to go against Chloe at almost 600. But he is going to need to see a drop from Chloe, who looks fairly comfortable on this pick. Sandron does as well, but again, it really just was that break that tied the turns for him. Going into the slower section again, both players seem to be holding, but that combo is making the side for Chloe so much better, sitting at an almost 100 score difference at this mark. Sandron is going to need to see either heavy act drops coming from Chloe or a miss sometime soon. We do have a little over a third of the map left. Going into the little bit of jump sections, both again, Sandron actually does find a miss there, which is not going to help him at all with almost 200k score difference. We are going into the last third of the map. Sandron is going to have to pray that Chloe does find a miss in order for him to take this over. With a 200k score difference, we'd have to see a lot of misses from Chloe and Sandron holding onto that combo. Act drops coming from Sandron, whilst Chloe is holding on strong, keeping his accuracy sitting at a little over 98. Going into this last key eye, it's really just going to be a test at this point to see if Chloe is going to be able to FC. I don't know if Sandron is going to be able to come back from this pick. Even with a little under a quarter of the map left, that score difference has just increased more and more from the FC coming from Chloe at over 400k score difference. And Sandron does not look comfortable on this last half of the map, which is not doing any justice for him. So it does look like Chloe will take the next point. Unlike the last pick, this score difference is going to deal a lot of damage. Can I do math? Can I do math? I can. Almost 600k score difference. So even with that amount, the most damage he can deal is to 650k. So he is already down. Can I do math again? 350k. Oh, my goodness. I can math. So next pick is going to be from Chloe again. Snake order, snake order. Looks like the pick is going to come out as Hard Rock 3. Understandable, goes going straight into the next Hard Rock map. This one, if I do remember correctly, is kind of just a good amount of finger control. This one has been banned a few times, so I'm not too familiar with this one. BPM is 145, length is under 2 minutes at 149, CS 3.9, so not high at all for Hard Rock, and obviously ARNOD 10. Alright, going into the map, this one just seems to be a combo game, and we have seen Chloe hold on to that accuracy a lot more than Sandron so far. Already act drops coming from both players at the start of the map. So the score is fairly similar, not swaying back and forth. Sandron does find the first miss. When we're already a quarter way into the map, that is not good for him. Chloe is holding onto that combo, not with accuracy. He is struggling this time, sitting at 91. Sandron is at 89 as well, but he is trying to rebuild that combo and does find a miss, an over aim. Chloe still keeping that combo, not looking as comfortable as we saw him on the last pick. We are going into the last of the map. There's already a 200k score difference. I do not know how Chloe just hit that. That was all 50. Going into this last diff spike. As score difference, it's 300k now, and I don't know if Sandron is going to be able to take this over. He just does not seem more comfortable at any of these slider sections compared to Chloe. Oh, Chloe does end up finally finding a miss, but it's not going to do anything for Sandron. And that score difference is at 400k now. And it looks like Chloe, again, is going to take his pick. This isn't a break point just because the pick order has changed to snake order. Even with that accuracy, Chloe being able to hold on to that combo is really what did it for him, which we have seen so far on these picks, that even accuracy hasn't mattered as much because of the length of some of these picks. When you do miss, especially right before the midsection, even with the other player having fairly lower AC, it does favor them a lot more. Oh, going into that DT1, very interesting pick. This one has tripped a lot of people up. It ramps up fairly quickly right at the start and catches a lot of people off guard. Stats for this map is going to be BPM 242, 2.5 minutes, CS 4.2, and AR 10.3. So the highest in the pool. This map is very fast, goes by fairly quickly, and there's awkward jumps. There's just quite a bit of everything in here, but we've seen not fairly high scores on this pick. I don't even think we've seen any FCs so far. Ooh, already breaks from both players. Both matching combo and accuracy after that first break. Both sitting at 95 AC. So the score is just going to stay fairly stagnant. It's really just going to come down to somebody breaking when we're already a quarter way into the pick. Going into the next key, and both players seem to be looking really comfortable on this now. And right after I say that, Chloe does find a break. Sandron holding on, even with some act drops. That is looking good for Sandron with his combo that he has rebuilded. Sitting at almost 500 combo going into this second half of the map. Chloe is going to have to pray that Sandron finds a miss somewhere, somehow, for him to be able to take this one back over. Because Sandron is just going to keep running with that score. It does not look like he's going to break anytime soon. Going into one of the slower sections is just a pray to make sure nobody finds a break right into the build-up. Going into the last quarter of the map, there is already a 200k score difference. Both players hitting those jumps unfazed. But Sandron is not going to be able to take this over unless we see a chain misses coming from Sandron. I don't believe there's enough map with over 200k score difference. They both find a break right at the same time, so it's just not going to help Chloe at all. And Sandron is just going to run with it again. There's just not anything Chloe's going to be able to do to take this pick, even when he does have the AC advantage, while Sandron is sitting at almost 94. And it looks like this next pick is going to go to Sandron, so it is going to be 2-2. Chloe, come on. Why does that have to be your HP? Oh, never mind. It switched over. It was a number I don't want to say. So Sandron is sitting at 300k and Chloe a little bit over 700. Again, like we've seen, the accuracy is definitely just not going to be the advantage for most of these picks. We saw Sandron be able to hold on to that combo is what he was able to run with for the rest of the map. There was just going to be nothing Chloe was going to be able to do. So it is going to be 2-2 now, and the next pick is going to be Sandron again. Sandron again. Yes, Sandron again. And we did see him accidentally pick Nomad 3, I think. Was that him? Yes, I think he accidentally picked Nomad 3. Snake order thing is missing some laser. I believe so. Oh, Nomad 5. Now this was Sandron's neutral. Maybe just trying to get this pick out of the way. Alrighty, stats for this pick are gonna be a CS4 AR8 and length almost 4 minutes and BPM 146. Fairly what we have seen, this is just overlaps, very reading heavy and finger control. A good amount of the patterns are really awkward, but overall the map is pretty consistent on the patterns that do show up. Both players seem to be going into this map pretty comfortable. Ooh, Chloe with that over aim. Sandron is still holding onto that FC with the AC advantage as well, sitting at 98. This map is fairly long, so they definitely do have enough time to go back and forth with the score. Ooh, Chloe finds another break again. We are going into the second quarter of the map. Just seeing Sandron's score so far, very interesting that he would neutralize this pick, considering Chloe is not as comfortable on these lower AR. He just cannot find his footing, while Sandron is just comfortable playing as if nothing is a problem. Going to the third of the map. Again, Sandron is just running with it. Ow. Let's hope that that break did not scare off Sandron. Already a little over 100k score difference. Oh, Sandron does find a break, but that score difference is still really good for him. And from what we've seen as Chloe just not feeling ready for this pick, I think that might still be in favor of Sandron, even with Chloe having a bit more combo than him, but not by much. That accuracy is what is actually holding him back as well. Going into this next key eye. Ooh, Sandron does find a break during that section. There is still a 100k score difference going into this last third of the map. Now, Chloe does have the rebuilded combo, which might not look good for Sandron. We kind of need to see him break because that gap is slowly encroaching onto Chloe's side. There's still a good bit of the map left. Oh, but Chloe does find a misread. That's going to look very good for Sandron because he's going to be able to keep the score over on his side, especially if he's able to keep holding. We only have a little less than a quarter of the map left, and Sandron does find a break, but there is a 60k score difference. Both of them breaking are going to help Sandron take his pick. I don't think that there's enough map for either of them to move this score. And it looks like Sandron is going to take his pick. Now, because this was a neutral, it's only going to deal half damage, so it's only going to be 30k score hit to Chloe. The real deal maker for this one was Sandron being able to look so comfortable on that first half of the map. I feel like he might have seen it as a gamble, which is why he might have neutralized it. Chloe came back on that second half feeling a lot stronger, so it became a little bit more competitive for Sandron to hold on to that win. Going into the next pick, out my ears. It is now Chloe's pick, so the score is 2-3, with a HP of 665 against 300. Ooh, we're gonna see a no mod 4 pick. Okay, purr. Okay, purr. Alright, stats for... My alarm's going off. Okay, stats for this pick are going to be BPM 170, Link a little over 3 minutes, CS 6, and AR 9.6. Honestly, this is not a surprise coming from Chloe based on that lower CS that we saw Sandron struggle on a bit, so he might be just weighing his options on that one. Now this one, this is a pretty fairly known song, I would say. All the maps to this song are fairly similar as well. This one is just a lot of weird shaped sliders, and beginning is just a lot of triples, consistency check. But overall, it's really at that first half of the map that you want to hold on to, and there's a good amount of the slider velocity change that catch a lot of players off guard. Alright, going into the map. Both players seem to be holding on about the same accuracy. We're going to need to see them keep up with that combo on this first quarter of the map. Oh, these are the patterns that can trip a lot of people up, which they both seem to be able to hold on just fine. Only a little bit of ag drops coming from both players. Ooh, Sandron does find a misread, so it's gonna look really good for Chloe. We are almost at that halfway mark. So keeping this combo before that is going to look really good for Chloe. Sandron not being able to find his footing or keeping any of that combo going into this second half. There is a fairly long break until we get to the second section. So plenty of time. What did he say? Unk DZD. It's the old people, man. Going into this part, there is a 100k score difference. Chloe still holding on to that FC is going to look really good, and you might just be able to take this all together. Today we have a third of the map left, and Sandron is only sitting at 200k. Now this is where it does ramp up a lot more. Those patterns that you saw earlier do come back a lot more, but it is just more intense with the velocity changes and awkwardness of the sliders. Chloe's still looking really consistent on this pick, even with Sandron rebuilding that combo. Going into the last quarter of the map, that score difference is 200? 300? 300k, if I can read. And if he is able to hold on to that FC, this is looking like it's gonna be an HP damage win. And Chloe just came out with that FC. With a 400k score difference, that just took it away from Sandron. It really was, even with Sandron rebuilding that combo on that second half of the map, it just had too many struggles going into that first half where Chloe was able to take all of the score. But still a great score coming out of both players. Wait. Yes. But yeah, great job. This was winners bracket, so we will still see we will see Sandron in for next week, and Chloe in for winners. A lot of those points were fairly close. It really just came down to that HP difference. But very proud of both players. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you to the players for playing. I hope you all had amazing fun, and I will see you guys at what is this? 18 UTC for the next match. Bye bye!